we'll go through the formalities.
Okay.
If the applicant does show, then of course we'll hear them. But if there is no applicant, we'll entertain our conversation. There's no opposition here in the audience. And Crystal, when we get in here, you can tell me if we got anything from or for or against, and we'll go from there. Sweet. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll call this meeting to order. The October 11th, 2022 Zoning Board of Appeals. And if you will, Crystal, the attendance, please, ma'am.
Board Member Delaware,
Here.
Board Member Hanner,
Here.
Board Member Lindsay is not here. Board Member Jones,
Here.
Board Member Moreno,
Here.
and Board Member Rogers will not be here.
Right, he's excused. All right, do we have any additions or deletions? And we have correspondence.
No additions, deletions, or correspondence.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I don't believe we have any unfinished business that I'm aware of.
Nope.
All right, our new business, which is Z0622, zoning dimensional variance request. The applicant is not here, but it's been noted that the ordinance does not require them to be present. There is no standing opposition here in the audience, no additions as far as correspondence against. So we'll proceed with this and just go through the motion as if though they were here. So, on that note, a quick note, just administrative, I'll open the hearing. We'll ask for a staff report, and once the staff report is done, anybody comes in, we'll ask them to come to the podium, give name, address for the record. Any additional information that wasn't in the staff report, present it. If there's any body in the audience that comes in and decides to speak for or against, we'll allow that to happen. There'll be questions from the board to the applicant, and if there are none, then we'll close the public hearing and move to our internal discussion where we can ask staff, city attorney, and the like for additional input if we need it. For that, we'll close and call the vote and move on. So, I declare the public hearing open today for Z-0622 zoning dimensional variance request. And Susan, I believe you're going to give us the staff report, yes? Well then, Mr. Sullivan, please.
So what you're looking at today is an application from Angona Construction on behalf of, I think it's Bajco Real Venture 2 LLC for the building located at 533 West Columbia Avenue. Now, just to give a little bit of background real quick as to why this petition is before you, the building that's at 533 West Columbia, the existing structure, is dimensionally non-conforming. It's a corner lot at the corner of Romance Street and Columbia. Because of that, it has two required front yards, one along Romance, one along Columbia. The building, as you can see in the aerial photo that you've got on page 9 of your packet, a portion of that building is constructed right on the lot line that's adjacent to Romance Street. And so in not meeting the required 30-foot front yard setback in the T3 zoning district, this building is dimensionally non-conforming. Now, in addition to that, section 1270.04 of the zoning ordinance with regard to nonconformities does not allow for the alteration of a nonconforming building if the alteration would result in a change that involves height, area, bulk, or change of use. And as what the applicant is proposing here actually results in a change in the configuration as well as a reduction in the overall bulk or area of the building, this item requires a variance in order to be approved. Now, the applicant has already applied for site plan review and is in the process of that. Obviously, they need a variance before site plan approval can be given. And then from there, then they would proceed to apply for building permits. Again, what you see before you is the proposal to demo a portion of the existing structure. So again, if you look at that aerial photo that you see on page 9, the portion of the building with the brown roof on it, that is slated to be demolished. And then in place of that, the applicant is proposing a small addition to the south portion of the building, right along the lot line on Romance, essentially squaring the building off on the south and then wrapping around into the middle portion of the property. Now, the portion of the existing building that would remain, so that white roof that you see, everything to the east of that white roof would be legally conforming if constructed there. That white roof is about exactly 30 feet from that lot line along Romance. And so what the applicant is proposing, again, with the demolition of this portion of the building and then the subsequent addition to the Papa John's suite, which would be to the south of the building, and then the additional construction of a new suite just to the east of the existing building, all to be attached, so as one building, would actually, again, result in a reduction in the overall area and bulk of the building, and a reduction in the non-conforming area of the building itself. With that being said, and looking at the requirements of the ordinance, staff would recommend approval of this petition. Staff views the request as being unique in nature, not caused by the applicant. The building was constructed in 1970. It was constructed on the lot line. Obviously, the zoning ordinance that we have today places them in the T3 zoning district and requires, with them being a corner lot, those two front yards, which are required to be 30 feet. Because of that, the applicant is not able to make alterations right now without a variance to the bulk or area of the building. The overall, the request, if you take, combine the demolition along with the new addition, in staff's view is the minimum required to abate the hardship. The applicant is looking to, again, actually reduce the overall footprint of the building and actually reduce the area of actual nonconformity itself. And so with all of that in mind, again, staff would recommend approval of this proposal. Again, we don't have an applicant here today, but if the board has any questions, I can answer them for you.
All right. And as you pointed out, there is nobody here to speak, from the requester's perspective. So on that note, do any of the board members have any questions for staff? All right then. So there's no audience, there's no public request to speak for or against. So I'll close this public hearing and move for our internal discussion. Is there any discussion from the board?
I move that we accept we approve we approve the dimensional variance as shown on the plans
This would be for Z06.
for Z06-22.
Thank you.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Any questions, concerns? None. All right.
Familiar with this property.
Yes. Been around for a long time. Okay. So, Crystal, if you will, the vote, please, ma'am.
Board Member Delaware?
Yes.
Board Member Hanner?
Yes, I think it meets all the 4 requirements for dimensional variance.
Okay. Board Member Jones?
I agree with the staff's report.
And Board Member Moreno?
Yes, and I too agree with the staff's report. All right then, that has been taken care of. So we now move on to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. I did note, Crystal shared that your name has been corrected.
Yes, I
So that was done. Are there any other concerns that we need to note and make correction for the minutes? All right then.
I make a motion to support, to adopt the minutes as printed.
Support.
All right, it's moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and it's approved. Okay, comments from the public. We have none today, so we'll move on. Comments from the members. Just a quick note, Thank you, Crystal. Staff for good work. This was one that basically was not really a real head scratcher, so we appreciate the time and effort taken. Any other members' comments? All right then, so we can move straight away to adjournment.
Okay, great.